and welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is KJ Ricardo, and today's video is a classic film review of the 1961 family film, The Parent Trap. Now, I am going to be very honest with you. I remember watching this movie when I was a child, but I hadn't seen it since then, and so I watched it last month, and it was essentially like I was watching it for the very first time. I am very familiar with the story of The Parent Trap. I grew up watching the 1998 remake with Lindsay Lohan, Natasha Richardson, and Dennis Quaid. That is one of my favorite films from my childhood. I love The Parent Trap. And so I was really curious to watch the original film and just kind of compare the two a little bit. And I was pleasantly surprised with the original film. The movie stars Hayley Mills as Susan and Sharon, Maureen O'Hara as Maggie, Brian Keith as Mitch, and Joanna Barnes as Vicky. The opening credits has the Parent Trap musical number, Let's Get Together, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not going to sing the rest of it because I am not a professional singer, but it has that vintage movie opening that you associate with classic movies. Sharon is the prim and proper girl like Annie in the remake, and Susan is the tomboy girl like Hayley in the remake. They meet much faster than in the remake. They meet essentially the first day that they're at the summer camp. Susan and her friends prank Sharon just like the remake. However, Susan doesn't get in trouble right away. Instead, Sharon, because her cabin is messy, she can't go to the camp dance, and it's a co-ed dance. It's a huge deal, but she can't go. And so what she does, she cuts a portion of Susan's dress at the dance. They get into a huge fight. They make a mess at the dance, and that is when they are sent off to the isolation camp. I enjoyed this. It makes more sense for both of them to get in trouble. I never really understood why Annie was in trouble in the remake for Hayley doing this elaborate prank. Both of them got in trouble, and it was really Hayley's fault. But this original film makes more sense with how they are both sent to the isolation camp. The scene when they find out that they're twins is similar to the remake, pretty much right down to the exact dialogues. The only difference is that they don't have half of a picture of their parents. They don't have that. Instead, they have photographs of each other's parents, but they don't have the picture that's split in half like you have in the remake. And so it's a little different, and I enjoyed watching those differences and just seeing what was the original and the remake. I enjoyed that. Susan and Sharon decide that they're going to switch places, and Susan actually has to practice Sharon's Boston accent, and you see them practicing that. You don't get that as much in the remake, where Hayley has to learn how to speak with a British accent and be convincing at it. You don't get that in the remake, but that was a really cool concept in the original. Just like the remake, Susan's dad, Mitch, is engaged to a new woman, Vicky. If you're familiar with the remake, then you might know that Joanna Barnes had a little cameo role in the remake. She played Meredith Blake's mother. And so I think, and she says, "You may call me Aunt Vicky." And I think that's really interesting and special that they included her in that brief scene.
Mom, Dad, you finally meet. This is my fiance and the love of my life, Nicholas Parker.
Hello, Nicholas. I'm so pleased to meet you. I'm Vicky.
Hi.
And this is Nick's adorable daughter, Hayley. This entire prenuptial get-together was her idea, I'll have you know.
How are you, young lady? We've heard nothing but wonderful things about you.
Hello, Cat. You may call me Aunt Vicky.
It's very obvious that Mitch and Vicky don't belong together. They should have never been a couple. When Susan tells Maggie the truth, it's a different scene than the remake. She tells Maggie that what she and Mitch did to the kids was awful, and it's true. This agreement that they had is just so ridiculous that Mitch would take one of the twins away and Maggie would have the other twin, and they would just never see each other again. The twins would never meet, never even know that they have a sibling, and the mom and dad would never see one of their children again. It's so ridiculous, and I don't know what judge would have agreed to this. And so it's so funny, but it's also something that you think about as an adult, that this is just a horrible situation. Instead of meeting at a hotel like in the remake, Susan and Maggie arrive at Sharon and Mitch's ranch. And so this is different, and it's actually pretty interesting and fun to watch. Maggie and Mitch fight more often in this original film than in the remake. They fight, they bicker. It's pretty obvious why they didn't work out the first time around, why they got a divorce. Susan and Sharon want them to get together, so they have this romantic dinner set up. They sing "Let's Get Together, yeah, yeah, yeah." They sing this song that's associated with this movie, and it's a really fun scene. I remember watching this from my childhood. When I think of The Parent Trap, the original film, I remember this scene.
Let's get together right away. We'll be having twice the fun, and you can always count on me. A Brewster twosome we will be. Let's get together, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They go on a camping trip just like the remake with Mitch, the twins, and Vicky. It's a disaster, but some of the scenes are exactly like the remake, and so the remake did a great job. It's a really good adaptation of the original film. But instead of taking Vicky out onto the lake on a raft when she's asleep, like the remake, Sharon and Susan lure black bear cubs to Vicky's tent. I was really surprised by this because black bear cubs, whenever there are cubs around, there's a black bear mama bear around too. And so they could have easily killed Vicky. So I was very shocked by this, but in a very hilarious, humorous way. Of course, at the end of the movie, Maggie and Mitch get together, they confess their feelings, and they're going to get back together. And I knew this was going to happen. I'm very familiar with the story of The Parent Trap. But I felt like the ending of this movie, the pacing of it, was just a little too fast. Mitch and Maggie got together too soon, and it just sped up the ending of this movie. I like that the remake actually has Elizabeth and Annie leaving to go back to London, and then Nick and Hayley are already there when they arrive home. They surprise them. There's a romantic kiss. So romantic. But I like the suspense of it where you think, oh, are they actually not going to get together? And then they do. So I like the pacing of the remake just a little bit more than the original. I just felt like the ending was well paced. But overall, I rate the original film a 9 out of 10, a solid A performance. It's a really fun film. It definitely feels like the 1960s. The cast is so great in this movie with Hayley Mills, Maureen O'Hara, Brian Keith, and Joanna Barnes. Everyone just worked so well together. Maureen O'Hara, she's just such a delight with old Hollywood films, and Brian Keith was a great job as Mitch, as this father figure. And Hayley Mills, she was so talented as both characters of Susan and Sharon. You could definitely tell the differences between the two twins, and that's also what you can tell in the remake with Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan did a great job stepping into this role. And I think it's really interesting now to look at the two films. The remake is a really good remake. It's a good adaptation of an original film. The 1961 version was definitely a family film. It feels like a family Disney film. And the 1998 remake is just very nostalgic to me. And I know many other people who are my age who grew up with the remake. And so it was really interesting to compare the two. Some scenes were exactly identical to each other. But overall, it's just a really fun movie. So I definitely enjoyed the 1961 original film. I would recommend it to anyone else, especially if you have seen the remake and if that's what you grew up watching. I recommend giving the original film a try. It's definitely fun, and you can never beat a good classic family film. So let me know what you enjoyed. Do you like the original 1961 version of The Parent Trap? What's your favorite thing about it? let me know, and I would be happy to read that. And if you like the 1998 remake, let me know about that too. What are your opinions on the differences between the two films? I'd be curious to read that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time with another video. And remember to always laugh often.